go to the hotline, and let's bring in the new head coach of the Brazoswood Buccaneers. We are pleased to be joined by Coach Danny Youngs. Coach, how are things in Clute?
Oh, they're going great. How are you doing, Matt?
We're doing great. Appreciate you taking.
I'm with. Never mind. I'm screwed.
He called you Max.
No, Max. Listen, that's an up.
I was just looking at Twitter a while ago, and I had Matt Step on my mind, and I was totally. And we got to talking. He said, "Hey, be careful, you're on live radio." I was like, "Okay, I'll be good." And first thing I do is I say the wrong name.
Well, listen. That is an upgrade. If I get mistaken for Matt Step, then things are going well.
I had
me.
Matt Step on the mind.
Ugh,
we're gonna immortalize that quote.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Y'all gonna have me in so much trouble.
Danny Youngs for Brazoswood.
Oh my gosh, I'm surprised my phone hasn't started ringing yet.
Danny Youngs from Brazoswood joins us. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on the new gig. You're moving from pretty far away, from Wichita Falls Hirschi all the way down to Brazoswood. I'm interested from your perspective. I know we've heard a lot of people in administration there at Brazosport ISD talk about what a good fit you are for this job. My question is kind of the reverse of that. Why is this job such a good fit for you?
Well, Greg, there's a lot of things that go with this that, people outside of me wouldn't know. Is I have two nieces that coach here in the district, and I have a close family. My two sisters and I are, really close, and my nieces, pretty much when I was a young coach, were like my children. I took them everywhere I went, and they went to games and basketball tournaments, and so my daughter's young, and I really wanted her to be around my nieces and grow up. And I have one of them's a coach at Freeport Intermediate. And I think one of the things in my coaching career, if I could go back and change, is I would have went back to West High School where I graduated from, and I would have coached there while my nieces were in school there, and just, been there to open the gym extra, be in the weight room with them, and just spend time with them, because y'all know as well as I do, kids grow up fast, and now they're all grown women. And I told my wife it'd be really important to me to, get Finley closer to her cousins.
That's obviously, family reasons are a great reason to go anywhere, and you're taking over a program there at Brazoswood that let's be honest, is in need of a jolt. It's in need of a kick in the rear to get these things going again. I'm interested when you first addressed your team. What was your message to them as when you addressed them as head coach?
I think the first thing I really told them is just give me a chance. Mm-hmm. I said, just give me a chance. I think they were kind of excited to have someone come in new. Change isn't always bad. And, I came in and I told them, guys, give me a chance. I said, football's fun. Athletics is meant to be fun. I said, but we're going to work hard and we're going to have fun doing it every day. And a lot of the changes that we put in place here, they've met with open arms, and I couldn't be prouder of the young men here and the way they've just bought in, and not just football, all our athletes.
I'm interested, where you're moving from a place there in 4A with Hirschi, moving up to 6A. Have you noticed, or I guess the better way to say is, what differences, if any, have you noticed moving up in classification from a school that obviously is in the 1,000 range of enrollment all the way up to a relatively big school there in Brazoswood? What kind of differences have you noticed with that leap?
Well, I tell you, the first thing is that jumps out at you is how many people you have to deal with. Coaching kids in the sports is pretty much the same. Whether you have 75 or 125, when you're running off season, it's still running off season. And I was lucky enough to bring 5 guys with me. And so that part of it's been pretty easy. It's the amount of people that you have to deal with in all the other sports, administration. There's a lot more principals and assistant principals. And, I'm a guy that loves to get up in the hallways and meet the teachers and meet people. And, man, it's just a lot more people to shake hands with and introduce yourself and let them know, you're here for them. And, especially teachers, to let them know if you ever have any problems with our kids, feel free to contact me. We're all on the same team.
We're talking with Danny Youngs, the new head coach of the Brazoswood Buccaneers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Coach, looking forward to your 2019 squad. This is a team that you mentioned is going to be young. This is a team that you've got a lot of sophomores that you're really excited about, a lot of juniors. Overall, when you kind of take a look at your Buccaneers as a whole, what do you think we can expect from them in 2019?
I'll tell you the one thing I can tell you about these kids going through spring football, and you know that's one of the things probably newest to me is, man, you don't realize how tough that is. You get kids to come out and work hard every day whenever you don't have a game to look forward to. Mm-hmm. But these kids, man, they eating it up, and they want to be there every day. And I tell you, they're going to play hard. Right now we're a little bit behind because we're learning a new offense and a new defense. And, you know, we have good days and bad days, but these kids are going to play hard. They're going to get after it, and I think you're going to see kids flying around on offense and defense and then special teams. And, you know, we got some good quarterbacks over here that are going to really have to lead a really young wide receiver crew.
You're moving from a district that was a bear trap last year with Decatur and Springtown and I think a rising Gainesville team into much easier district where you just have to deal with Pearland. You just have to deal with straight. You just have to deal with straight Jesuit. You just have to deal with Pearland Dawson. Overall, George Ranch, of course, has a state championship. When you take a look at what you guys are going to be up against there in District 23 6A, what do you see?
I think you've left off Pearland, A-Lee, Taylor, Elsick, Elkins. I mean, you're leaving out some people that got some great athletes in there. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see how much we can progress in those first 3 weeks of non-district and how far we can come along. Because, the one thing everybody always asks what we did at Hirschi to get better, we got smarter. And that was really one of the biggest things. We worked hard every day to be a smarter football team, and the kids bought into that. And, man, the smarter you are, the easier it makes it on coaches because you can add things, you can adjust things, you can put more on the kids. And, these kids, they watch huddle nonstop. They watch practice. They watch, everything we send out for them to watch it. So I think to see how we progress over the 3 non-district games, that we're getting better each week will have a lot to do with how we do in district.
I imagine there may be 1 or 2 TCU fans who are tuning in, who are interested in your opinion on one of your former players, Daimarqua Foster. Of course, our funky president is now off at TCU, signed with the Frogs, a guy that obviously made a big name for himself and helped make Hirschi on the tip of everybody's tongue across the state. You're the guy who got to see him every day in practice for the length of his high school career. I'm interested. What can you tell TCU fans about the kind of player that they're getting?
He's a gamer. So he brings it every day in practice. He brings it in, the weight room, the summer camp, in season, and he's just really a great young man. He has a great personality, and from the time he was in 8th grade when I walked in and met him the first time, I just knew he was going to be special. He was just something different, and he's carried that on throughout, and he did lift that Hirschi program up. He was part of what changed it around, and I just love that I got to be a part of his high school career. He was just something different. I'll be honest, I've been lucky to coach some good kids, at the different places that I've been at, and I hope I coach another Daimarqua Foster. I'll tell you that. It'll make my coaching career a lot easier.
Yeah, you hear that all the time. Is that coaches are like, man, I was a fantastic coach whenever we had this star running back, and we're excited to see what you do there at Brazoswood. We're talking with Danny Youngs, the new coach of the Buccaneers down there at Brazoswood here on Texas Football Today. Coach, one last question. I believe the last time we spoke, you and I, was for the 2018 summer edition. We were writing a story about Daimarqua, and I remember very distinctly you kind of telling me a story about a whiteboard in your garage, about how you were writing predictions up on the whiteboard, you and your assistant coaches just shooting the breeze and saying, this is what's going to happen. I'm gonna put this on the board. I think one of them, like Texans make the playoffs or win 12 games or something like that. My question to you now is there something written on your whiteboard for 2019, and are you willing to share it?
Are you Aladdin? Did you come out of this little genie bottle? Yes, I do have a whiteboard in my garage, and there are predictions written up on there. It's funny that you say that because now that you talk about it and you put it in the magazine. It's funny how people talk about it, but now people want to get written on the board. And I would tell you some of the football bets that are on that board, but I don't want my guys pulling out on them. It's crazy how we get funny bets up there now because people will say this is going to happen, and it started off with the whole Daimarqua thing. Mm-hmm. It's how the very first thing got written up in the top left corner of the whiteboard, and there's nothing written up there about Brazoswood or anything like that. Most of them are about college or NFL teams.
Okay, well, so if I need some wagering advice, call you?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't done very well on that board except for the very first time I won with Daimarqua. It's been downhill ever since. I should have just kept betting on Daimarqua all the time.
He's Danny Youngs. He's the new head coach of the Brazoswood Buccaneers. Coach, congratulations again on the new gig. Best of luck this year in the offseason, and we'll be talking to you down the road.
All right, thank you, Greg.
There he goes, Danny Youngs, new head coach of the Brazoswood Buccaneers. I had to ask him about the whiteboards. That's stuck with me for a
Were you the one that wrote the
because the thing
Daimarqua
was,
feature?
because I wrote the Daimarqua feature, and he didn't. I didn't want to put him on the spot on the air, but afterwards, I'm going to text him and I'm going to ask him because he wouldn't tell me
what it was
that he had written for the 2018 season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now I need to go and ask him what it was. So we'll find out. Anyway, we appreciate Coach Danny Youngs hopping on with us.